Hey guys, what's going on? Super here. Welcome to the channel. Today I'll go over the round 17 review. I scored 2,485 in the top 2%, which wasn't the worst. Finally climbing up in the ranks, which is good. So in the top 1K, sitting at season rank at 840, went up the ranks by 360 spots. So that's really good. So the captaincy kind of let me down this week. Could have climbed up even further, but made the mistake of putting the C on Gawn. So we'll go over the side anyway. So we had the VC on Ryan. He got 99, which was pretty average. I thought he would go like 120 at least, but it's pretty hard to repeat history. Like he scored 200, nearly 200 last time he played Richmond, but he just hasn't been in the greatest form recently. Just pretty average. Like this. He's in a bit of a form slump at the moment, which is a bit frustrating, especially if people don't have him. They probably climb in the ranks, but, most people should have him anyway, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. I think he's owned by, like, most of the competition. But, yeah, anyway, it's like the big issue. Oh, he's in, 38% of teams, so we should be all good there. But, yeah, we had Gawn for the C with the 100, so 1 point difference, but got subbed off, which was a bit frustrating just because they were beating them by a fair bit. So that was a common case for some of the other players in the team this week, like Butters, for example. He got subbed off as well, which was annoying. But I think that was about it. But, yeah, there was a few other players that got subbed off during the round, which is kind of annoying for their scoring if you own them. But, yeah, Gawn, 100, pretty disappointing against BJ Williams. Thought he would go nuts. With Flynn out of the side, so no good from Gawn. Pretty annoying in defence. So we got Sheasel's at D1 now, 141. Just played nuts. Really good stuff from North there. Kind of missed that game a little bit. Tried to watch the last quarter of the game, but yeah, Sheasel was tearing it up. So that's good. 141. Dacos, he was getting heavily tagged, I'm pretty sure. I think that's what happened. I can't really remember, but I think he was getting tagged a lot, so scored pretty poorly there, 92. And then Ryan was pretty shit, pretty bad VC option. Probably should have gone for Merritt, which would have been a bit more obvious. And then Whitfield got the 107, so he's in good form, which is great to see. And then he's got the Tigers. I think he was getting a little bit of attention, but he still managed to pump out a 107 in their comeback win, so that was good. And McGovern got 98, which was fairly decent from him. So he might be out this week, but fingers crossed that he isn't, because he's a tough unit, so he'll come back hopefully. But yeah, apparently he went to hospital with a rib injury, so we might have to trade him out, unfortunately. But I think he's pretty tough, so surely he can come back. Didn't fly over with the team, I believe, but hopefully he's right to play. He's a pretty tough guy, so hopefully that's the case for us. Then Houston was pretty average, but they were just smashing the Bulldogs, so not too bad, I guess. Pretty shocking score from him. He hasn't been scoring the greatest, I think, last 2 rounds, but hopefully he can bounce back. He's got a pretty good fixture coming up, so yeah, should be in good stead for the coming games. And then we got Bont with the 106, which was probably lucky to score that against Port. They were just dominating them. And then Butters with a 159, and he got subbed off, so could have had a higher score. But, yeah, 159 is a great score from him. He's just an absolute beast. I think he kicked a goal as well, so that's really good from him. And Merritt was tearing it up against the Pies, so, yeah, really leading the team to the victory, so that's what you love to see. And then Walsh got tagged, so 69 is not the greatest, but we kind of expected that was going to happen. So couldn't really get a loophole onto the field. And, he happened to score higher than my other players anyway on the bench there, so pretty happy with that, I guess. And then Sarong got attention as well from Richmond, so Graham was tagging him pretty hard. He's in a bit of a form slump as well, which is frustrating. Got Hawks this week. Probably gets a tag as well this week, but hopefully not. I think he should be able to break it this week, hopefully. Tom Green was a bit how you going? No Josh Kelly and still got a 96, which is pretty bad. Got the Tigers, I guess. We'll hope that he goes a bit better this week, hopefully. But yeah, he's one of those guys, like if you traded him out, you wouldn't be too, you'd be pretty happy, I guess, like to someone better. But yeah, he's just been pretty bad recently. And then Steele didn't even get the 110, so this is a bit frustrating owning him in the win against Sydney, which is a bit of an upset. So yeah, I don't know. He's just really dropped off compared to the start of the season. But yeah, hopefully he's got a nice fixture coming up, so that's why we've held on to him. Pretty good run home, so I think, he should be a good option just to hold on to him at this point. Like, I'd probably rather get rid of Rowell or maybe Tom Green, but with like Kelly out, I'll hold Green, and Rowell's probably the biggest issue coming up because he got the 79. He was getting a bit of a tag though, I believe, against North Melbourne from Phillips. So that was annoying. And then Walsh, he was getting the tag as well, but he's a bit of a concern as well with his fixture coming up. Don't know if the Bulldogs are going to tag him or not. They probably will, and then North will definitely tag him. I'd imagine they'd tag him over Cripps, just like with Phillips, and like Shields probably better off tagging Walsh over Cripps. I don't reckon the size matchup will be good for Cripps. And then Port, Drew's probably going to be more of an impact on the game tagging Walsh than Cripps. So you could go for Cripps as well if you want to bring him in. And then, the fixture coming up, isn't the greatest for, like, he's probably going to get tagged against Hawthorn, West Coast, St Kilda. So yeah, not really too keen about holding Walsh. Maybe we get rid of him. But yeah, same can be said about Rowell. I think he's probably going to get tagged this week, but hopefully it's not him. Hopefully it's Anderson, because he's been pretty average. Hopefully they tag Anderson instead. But now with the news that Took is out with a wrist injury, hopefully Rowell can get more of the ball and actually start scoring well, which would be great. Just a matter of time. Like, depends on how long Took is out for, but I think we'll just hold Rowell at this point. I think McGovern's more of the worry at this point. But yeah, Revel got a 36, so he could get traded if we need to. Clark, hopefully we can drop him. Hopefully he gets dropped, sorry. So then we can start doing some loopholes with, Sean Manor was playing absolutely crazy. Well, he should be down here. He's not down here. That's a bit of a surprise. Oh, well, he has gone up a fair bit in coin, but, I think I was talking about him last video, so he went absolutely nuts. He got like he got 118, which was crazy. Had 11 tackles, I believe it was. So I'd probably trade him in, honestly. Like, if I'm going to trade out two players, I'll probably trade out someone like my other rookie to get in Manor just as cover. So you can swing him between, the midfield and forward line. And then, I could cover, like, loop him with Rowell, and I think that, he should be able to stay in the side, definitely, after his performance. He's kind of had a couple stints in the side just as a sub, but yeah, watching him play, I think he's, really hard at the ball, got the mature body, and he seems to be, like, really positive. Like, he's always, like, up and about when the boys, like, have done something good, like a second effort or something like that. He's getting around them a fair bit, so it's good to have that positivity in the team. So I think, he should be a lock in the side for the remainder of the season, hopefully. And then, we've got Humphreys down here. So, yeah, he should stay in the team as well now that they're going to play, Stewart in the midfield. So you could even bring in Stewart if you wanted to have a bit of a pod in defence. But, yeah, Stewart looks like he's back in form as well, which is good. So Humphreys should be able to just take Stewart's old role. And they've got, like, De Koning in the ruck now as well. So, should be pretty safe to keep Humphreys in defence. And then we had Nank. So he went nuts, which is awesome to see because such a low ownership in the top 1% anyway. He got 159, which is crazy. I I believe like a portion of the score was because of Darcy getting injured, but I think he was tearing it up at halftime. He was on about 70 or something, so that was pretty good. And then Darcy got subbed off, and he was versing Jackson for the rest of the game, so he was just absolutely killing him in the hitouts. But yeah, that was great to see. I didn't want to captain him last week, but I probably should have put some more consideration into that. But yeah, hindsight's a great thing anyway. So he could be on the list this week, I reckon, for a captaincy option against Briggs, because usually rucks score pretty good against Briggs, but as of recent, I don't think they have been. But yeah, Nank is in unbelievable form. Who even versed the Giants again? De Koning. What did he score? I don't know if he scored that great. He's actually really expensive now. What the hell is he? More than... Oh, not quite. He got 128, so I think he's a pretty safe captain option this week. Most people wouldn't have him, but could be a good trade-in option if you want to pod and try and climb the ranks. But he does have a really good fixture coming up, so I'll probably just put the C on him for the moment. And then, round 18, who's coming up this week? He's got Essendon and Draper, so could go pretty big. See if they bring in Goldstein for like a double team on Gawn. Flanders missed most of that game, and then Heaney might be in trouble, might get suspended, but wait and see. Hopefully not. They've got North Melbourne, so we'd love to see him play against North. Could get a bit of attention though. Zorko had a bit of a down game for some reason. Wasn't the greatest. And then we traded Fisher to Caldwell, who got 134. So that was absolutely great stuff from him. So yeah, I think that was the right move. Probably not though with the news about McGovern, because we could have potentially just held on to Fisher and tried to get him into defence. But it is what it is. I'm pretty happy with the forward line. I think Caldwell's like a top 6 forward for sure. So, and the run he's got coming home, he should be able to keep pumping out, keep turning up, I guess. And Moore played pretty good as well, to be fair. Bit unlucky, like to get 103. I think he, had a couple goals that, one goal that should have been a goal, I guess. I think it was touched or something, so that's unlucky for him, but could have scored a little bit higher. And then Jackson it's good for us Jackson owners, with the 121 there, so getting a few more points, which is awesome. So yeah, it's awesome to see. Not great news that Darcy's out again, but it's good for us SuperCoach owners, that have him. So hopefully he can just be the sole ruckman for a couple more weeks. Hopefully he's not too sure about the injury report on Darcy, so hopefully Jackson can play in the ruck, but we'll have to wait and see when the injury list gets updated. And then Day got a 77, so he was actually carrying the Gold Coast Suns in the first couple of quarters. I think he kicked like 3 goals or something. And then, he got injured. I think he had like a back fracture or something, so that's no good. So he could be someone that we trade out over like a Revel. We could just hold Revel, even though he played poorly. But yeah, I don't think he's going to come back for the remainder of the season. So yeah, it's just another one of those things where we have to wait and see with the the report. And then Dawson should be coming back this week, so could be an option as well to get, like, maybe if you have McGovern, maybe you can swing him back there, but I can't do that, so that's a bit annoying. So Rosie went nuts with a 168 there, so that's pretty crazy. I probably won't go near him, even though he's got a pretty favourable fixture with Richmond coming up. McKerch has been playing really good in his return game, 134, but not too sure if that's because Fisher wasn't playing. But yeah, I guess like if you wanted to get, you had McGovern, maybe you could trade him to a McKercher if you wanted to do a bit of a pod there and have a little bit of a swing as well. Maybe that would be a shout as like a cover pick, or like a backup player. You could probably go him. That's not a bad shout. I probably should have held on to him though. And then we'll just have a look at the head-to-head. So we got over the line against Sloppy Joe laying pipe Ben, so that was pretty lucky against him. He's a high rank, I believe. I have to have a look at the league. So yeah, he had like Manor on the field, which is nuts. So that was pretty lucky, and he's got Neil going 179, which is crazy if you have Neil. I wish I had him in my side. I might trade him in, honestly, if, McGovern is playing. Hopefully he is. He's a tough warrior, so we've got to just have that mindset that, he's such a warrior that he's going to come back. But we also can't be kidding ourselves. So we've got to plan for the worst as well. But yeah, hopefully he can come back in, and then I can bring in Neil. But that would be pretty much point chasing. So yeah, we're sitting at second here. I think, yeah, Ben, what's he at? Like ranked 244. So that was a pretty good matchup to get the dub over him. So pretty lucky. And then, yeah, the bit of an interesting top 8 there. So not too bad. And then we got the win over Ryan, which was nice. Bit unlucky from Ryan. I thought he had me on toast with the VC merit. The VC on merit, sorry. That was a great captaincy option. So if only I had have nailed that one. But yeah, he had Dawson, who's just a bit of a fake primo and a bit inconsistent. Miller, that's a no good. Wonder what happens with him. So what do you do with him? Probably trade him out at this point, I'd say. Dale, just underperforming primos, which isn't the greatest. And we both have Real, just bloody disgraceful at this point. But maybe we'll just hold him. I think if Miller's not going to be playing, we'll wait and see what happens with him. It should be a bit of a pod at this point. Most people would trade him out, hopefully, by now. So hopefully we get some reward. Hopefully he can bounce back. But yeah, other than that, so probably what I'll do is if McGovern is out, I'll probably have to get rid of him, which is unfortunate. Had him all year, so don't really want to see him go. And then I'd say we can pretty much afford anyone that we want. So we'll just get rid of Day at this point, I reckon. Might as well keep Revel. And then we could swing Dowling into the forward line. Doesn't really matter who we swing into the forward line. And we'll just have a look at highest players. So could grab a Neil, as I said, but don't really want to do that. I'd have to have a rookie on the field, so that's not going to be ideal. I think I'll have to go with Sinclair. So this is the option. If McGovern's not going to be playing this week, we'll have to grab Sinclair, and then we can also still be able to afford. We could go Humphreys if we wanted to, but I think I'll just take the punt on. I'll pay up for Manor. He just seems to be a good player. We need him in our team, I think, going forward. So I think that's how we would line up and be left with 3 trades going forward. Otherwise, what I would do is still probably bring in Manor if McGovern's going to be playing. What would I do? I'd probably have to get rid of Real. But I'm kind of interested to see how he does go against his matchup this week, especially with if Took's not going to be playing. And yeah, we could grab a Neil or a Dunkley player, so probably just get Neil, even though he might get tagged a bit. And does that leave? It doesn't leave me with enough there. What about Revel? No, it doesn't. I can't actually get Manor at that price point. I think I would have had to get Humphreys if I was going to get Dunkley or Neil, so could do that. But yeah, that would increase my projected a fair bit, and I think I'll just have to pay up for Neil at this point in the year if he's got a pretty nice fixture coming up. He's got West Coast, probably will get the tag, but probably won't really do anything to him. And Sydney's got a good record against them. Gold Coast, a massive score there as well. What else then? Saints, he'll probably get tagged, but you could just go Dunkley instead because I think Neil's given himself too much attention now. with the massive score, so people are going to come after him. So they're probably going to go for Neil over Dunkley. So maybe you want to go for Dunkley over Neil. But, you know, if you're going to, you know, finish your team off, you want to sideways, I'd probably just grab Neil, just because, you know, he's a gun. So, but yeah, it's a bit of a 50-50 call there. You know, he could get tagged against GWS as well. And then, you know, Collingwood probably won't tag him. And then Essendon definitely will tag him. So, yeah, probably not. I'm not too I don't know. It's like you'd probably go for Dunkley as a pod if, you know, not as highly owned in the top 1%. So maybe you do that. Hopefully they just tag Neil. You grab Dunkley instead, and he's consistent. He'll be going under the radar. He's had a really good 3-round average there. So, because, you know, these teams will most likely tag him. James Jordan's coming up as well. So I think Dunkley's probably the way to go if you were going to get one of those guys, just because I think that Neil is definitely going to be the guy that will get tagged. And there's heaps of tags coming up there. So probably one game where he's not going to get tagged, but I don't know. I'll probably have to get Dunkley, or I could go for like a Cripps type, actually, like I was talking about in the last video. I think he's in Brownlow form, so I could do that, and that'll give me more money to spend. So I will be able to grab Mana if I was going to do this, but it really just depends on the injury list, and we have to wait and see what the frick is going on. I have to wait and see what's going on with McGovern and the team sheets. Yeah, otherwise this is a pretty good one as well. But yeah, there's also the tag risk as well. But I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think that Walsh is more likely to get tagged, and then Cripps, just because he's a bit smaller, and the players will probably like line up a bit better on Walsh than Cripps. But yeah, they'll probably try and tag Cripps. But yeah, what I could do is actually get rid of Walsh instead of Rao, and just hold on to. Then that would leave me more money to be able to grab like a Neil. But yeah, as I said, this is just going to be dependent on the team sheets. I think I've talked myself into Dunkley over Neil at this point, actually. That way, you know, if I was going to trade out Walsh, which would be a bit more risky, but probably makes a bit of sense. But then again, you know, Carlton are in unbelievable form. Like, yes, they did choke by like the team came back from 40 points from behind, but they nearly came back in the end to get the victory. They were pretty unlucky not to win that game, even though they were up by so much at halftime, I believe it was. But yeah, this could be another option here. Trade out Walsh for Dunkley and get Mana as a loop for Rao. That could be another option. We just need to make sure that hopefully Clark isn't playing at this point. Otherwise, the loop wouldn't be effective. But we'll just put the most likely trade scenario as the team into the team for the moment. Sorry, I'm just jumbling my words a bit, but a bit late at night, eh? But anyway, we'll just, yeah, so if McGovern's going to be out, which bloody hope he isn't, you know, we could get like a Clark, probably not. Holmes, I don't mind, just a bit like inconsistent with his role, can be placed into the midfield. Sinclair's the guy for me. We're just going to trade out Day as well. But yeah, wait, let me just have a look at the options in the defense. Who would you grab if you couldn't afford to use another trade? You'd probably get, let's have a look. Well, Sicily's not a bad shout either, actually. He's a little bit more. You probably want to get him if you can't afford. If you can't afford Sinclair, you grab Sicily. Then who else? Dale's been a bit mid. Newman has been pretty good, but he just had a bad game. I think it was against GWS. he's got a high ceiling, but now that, all the boys are back in Carlton defence, probably not. And then Holmes I probably wouldn't go for, but that's, dependent on our midfield as well. If someone gets injured, he might have to go into the midfield, which he does score pretty well, so could be an option. Yo's, probably someone that you would consider. Just hasn't been going as good ever since he came back from injury, so probably not anymore. Hayden Young's probably a good shout. Like, he's a bit of a roller coaster though. There's a few good options in defence anyway, so you shouldn't be too struggling too much. Like, Ridley's available as well, which you'd probably go for Ridley over Nick Martin, I'd say at this point. Even Tom Stewart, if you wanted to go a bit of a pod, but still owned by 21% of teams. But yeah, other than that, I probably haven't really looked too much further down. Oh, McKercher's like the good value option actually. So you could try and hold, if you can try and hold McGovern and just grab McKercher as like a cover pick. That's probably the best way to do it, because he's not too bad in terms of pricing. Should have a good role. I think that's probably what I would suggest at number one. Otherwise, I'd just grab Sinclair, I think. But yeah, it's obviously all dependent on the injury list. And then we can afford to grab Manor, who's gone up about 60k. Where is he? There he is. So yeah, that's probably what I do. Hopefully McGovern's playing, fingers crossed, but that'll leave me with 3 trades. Most likely we'll only have 3 trades at the end of this round either way, but yeah, I showed you my trade options, so that's like what I'd probably do. If McGovern's out, probably grab Sinclair. If not, maybe we flick like a Walsh or a Rowell out for a Dunkley type or a Cripps or a Neal, but I think that would be my order, probably Dunkley, then Cripps, then Neal. Oh, I don't know, it's a bit of a hard one, but yeah, surely Neal will get a bit of attention for the remainder of the season. Should be getting a few tags, I would imagine, so it should be good for us if he does get the tags, because we don't own him, and then we can try and keep climbing up the ranks. But yeah, that will give me the option to have Manor as a loop. Hopefully Clark Manor takes Clark's spot there. But captains, who have we got? Collingwood versus Geelong. Dacos got a pretty good score there. It's a bit hard to read with the black version on. Don't know about that one. I think he could get tagged by the Cats. Don't know who would tag him. Maybe like Bose or someone. Not too sure. They haven't played O'Connor recently, so maybe could put the VC on Dacos for a big game. But yeah, I'm not really sure about that one, especially with Stewart going into the middle. Don't know. It'll be an interesting matchup. I'm keen to see it. Obviously, most people would be as well. We don't have any Geelong players. And then Hawthorn versus... You look at Sarong here, probably will get attention. He's got the 140 in there, so could be a good VC option. In Tasmania, though, so interesting. We need to see a bounce-back game from Sarong, though. So he could be a good option, hopefully. But most people said he'd be a good option against Richmond, and he went worse than Ryan, so I kind of thought that'd be the case. And then Hawthorn doing more, probably not. I doubt he'll go too good, but hopefully he can ton up for us. And then obviously Heaney would be the guy. Probably will get a tag though. Probably won't be playing. Hopefully he is. Sheasel against Sydney. That would be funny to see North beat Sydney. That would be pretty funny. And Sheasel would carry them over the line, but a bit of a risky VC option if that was going to happen. Then you look at the Bulldogs matchup. Maybe the Bont is probably going to bounce back. They need to win a massive game against Carlton at Marvel. So I think I'm getting drawn more towards Bont at this point for the first VC that I can clearly see. Maybe Dacos is another good one. Walsh, I'd expect a 110 at least from Walsh this week. And then St Kilda and Adelaide. Don't have any Adelaide players, have I? Not Dowling, no. Steele, he's got that big score there. Maybe is it possible for the Saints to make the finals? Probably, but they'd have to win like every game, I would imagine. They could win this game. That's another out there pod. You're probably better off putting the VC on Bont, but if he goes nuts, that would be huge for us. Adelaide don't really have anyone there. Maybe like if you have Laird, maybe I'd consider that. He could get a tag though. Dawson's been shocking, so probably wouldn't go near him. Could bounce back though. And then Melbourne and Essendon, Merritt's probably another guy. Do we wait further into the round and just chuck the VC on Merritt? That's probably a fair shout. I don't know. I think I feel like Merritt's going to go nuts on Saturday night at the MCG, against Melbourne. Oliver's been shocking, so he could just... And, the Melbourne midfield hasn't been the greatest, I guess, but there's an option there I feel a bit more comfortable with. Just kind of playing it by ear at this point. Who else was there? The Port matchup against Gold Coast. Real, no, I wouldn't do that. Butters, possibly. Houston. No, it's a bit of an interesting week for my team anyway. GWS against Richmond, could be an option here actually. In green, hopefully can bounce back. How does Flanders go against... Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting week. I think I'd be more comfortable with I guess the preferred option at this point would be Merritt into Nankervis. I think, Nank should go pretty big against Briggs. But yeah, if you own Dunkley, you probably put the C on him or Neil. Jackson against Meek could be a good shout actually for a bit of a pod VC option if Darcy's going to be out. Could do that one. But yeah, I'd feel more comfortable putting the VC on Sarong over Jackson. But yeah, I would probably line up like a VC Merritt into Nankervis. Otherwise, could put the VC on Sarong or Bont and Pally. I'd probably go Bont over Sarong. It's a bit another 50-50 call there, though. I think Sarong needs to bounce back. But for the moment, I'll just go the VC on Merritt. I think he should have the highest ceiling out of them all. Sarong could have a massive game, I reckon, actually. But at this point, I think with current form, I'll go with Merritt into Nankervis for the VCC option for this week coming up. Now we can just have a look at the leagues, the matchups. Yeah, we kind of already went over that one. Who have we got coming up? Got Alex with his crazy tight team name. I don't know how he's done that. If it is a guy, apologies if not. Yeah, should be an interesting matchup. Will Day's been in some good form actually. How do you go against us? Got the 103, pretty average, pretty decent, not the greatest. But yeah, should be an interesting matchup. Hopefully Rosie doesn't go too crazy this week, so we can try and get back up the ranks. But we'll have a look at the league. So yeah, still killing it. Nigel's actually jumped up. It's pretty similar at the top here. Nigel's jumped up, which has been the clear mover there. So he's jumped in the third, and then Sam has gone into fourth spot. 40 points, both of those guys. Shane was the winner from last year, so see if he can jump back up into the top four. I think he can definitely do it. He's a 1,798, pretty good rank from him. Ryan's holding on. It's a bit tighter down here, so see if Alex can get the job done on me this week and climb into the top 8 or not. But fingers crossed that we can, push through and have a pretty good record for the remainder of the year. But yeah, this is what I'll probably do, guys. I'll probably go for, if I'm going to be trading out McGovern, if we force to trade out McGovern this week, we'll bring in Sinclair and Manor as a cover, as a bit of a loop. So we'll get rid of that. Hopefully Clark doesn't play, but if he does, that's all right, I guess. We could try and do like a loop in the forward line, but who would we do it with? I don't know. Maybe like Zorko. Would he score well against West Coast if they're smashing them? Probably still would score pretty good. But yeah, I think this swing in the midfield, like the loophole in the midfield, is probably the preferable option. If only we had a player down back, that would be ideal. But yeah, I think this is how I'll line up. Don't really need to be playing any loops in the forward line, I don't think. But yeah, hopefully you guys are climbing up the ranks as well. Let me know in the comments down below what your trades are this week and how you went. What season rank you are as well. That'll be interesting to hear. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys, and see you later.